I think my most treasured possession is a first edition of the book that I wrote my dissertation on at university. So it's The Sheltering Sky by Paul Bowles, and it was a gift from my boyfriend, now fiance, and I had a horrible moment where I thought I'd lost it, but no, it's safely on the bookshelf now. I think the last time I cried was actually finding a letter from my granny who died not very long ago at the age of 95. And it was a letter that she wrote after reading the Book of Lost and Found for the first time. I had a copy made up for her before it was became a book. Oh, all the time. Probably recently we've been moving house, so there's been a lot of a lot of reasons for hilarity in that generally. But I think discovering some photographs from a few years ago, from university and things that were just hilarious, and I probably need to hide somewhere. Apparently this isn't a guilty pleasure, but I think at the moment it's watching The Fall on TV, I think because it makes me feel so confused because I think Jamie Dornan is so beautiful and yet he's also playing this incredibly creepy serial killer. So it's very guilty and confused. I think my worst habit, definitely my worst writing habit, is I have a whole collection of kind of half-finished notebooks. So there are loads of blank pages and it's just awful, but I think it's the excitement of having like a new notebook, and I kind of splurge on moleskins, and so that the kind of excitement of that first new page means that I sort of give up on some of them when they're halfway through. Desert Island book would be probably Any Human Heart by William Boyd, because I think I could read that book again and again and kind of take something new from it each time, because it's so rich and it's full of so many different stories, and so many lives lived really in one lifespan. Probably, well, my books. So I've just built a kind of new IKEA bookshelf in my new house, and that was sort of the first thing out of the boxes. And also probably my moleskin notebooks. So one of the things I love about living in London, I think, is sort of just walking around the city. It's just such a fascinating place, and there's so much history, and there are so many kind of layers of history and stories. So I do just like going for a really long walk, kind of either sort of around Piccadilly. I love that area. I think it's got this sort of wonderful kind of history and sort of glamour and grandeur to it, or just kind of around one of the parks and thinking. I think it would be Life After Life by Kate Atkinson, because it's just an incredible feat. In the hands of a lesser author, it could be incredibly boring having the story sort of restart again and again, and having kind of these different riffs on what could happen to a character. But because she's just so brilliant and kind of fearless, and sort of adventurous, she does it so well. And I think it's just a really interesting play on writing anyway, because you have all these, when you start writing, but you have all these different ideas for where the story could go, what could happen to the characters, and yet she manages to include all of those possibilities and make it interesting for the reader at the same time. So I just think that's incredible. Well, I've got a few. One of them, though, would be at my parents' house, family home in Sussex, just because it's a wonderful, in a tiny village in the middle of the countryside, and it's just a wonderful place to escape, to escape the city, and kind of work stresses and things.